Welcome to the Moon God Pod. I'm your host, JwowLax, and today we have ChirsMannto coming from us all the way over in Europe. We get international on this show because Aku is a international movement. Cheers. I got to be honest, right out the gate, thought it was Chris. I think there needs to be a bit of explanation. The spelling and the handle, and everybody's handle has something unique. You know, I JwowLax. Obviously, I live in LA, and when I came out here, people started calling me JWow. I've had a bunch of monikers. Of course, there was a popular show, Jersey Shore, from long ago, and while I don't like the connection to Jersey Shore in any capacity, it's kind of what I decided to go with when Discord just it was almost like the old days, like when you first sign up for like your first email, and I came up with JwowLax. So please, cheers, welcome to the show, and am I saying it right, or should I call you Chris?
Yeah, you can go either way. I respond to both. So I actually did not know about the connection to Jersey Shore. So for me, this is the first time I'm kind of having an association with that username. So that's good. You're clear in the clear for me. I got no association with Jersey Shore whatsoever. So as to my Discord name, it's of course my name is Chris in real life. Um, I got the nickname through a few of my friends. I used to have an Xbox Live profile, and while setting it up, you could write something in your bio, and most people wrote, I don't know, their birthmark or something like that. And I thought, well, I'll just write my first name in there, and I read my first name in there, saved the profile, and after a couple of years, some of my friends they started calling me Cheers, and I was like, what's up with that? But they wouldn't tell me. And then all of a sudden, everyone was calling me Cheers. And a few weeks later, they said, mate, you really should check your Xbox Live profile again. So I checked it, and I'd actually written my own name. I'd actually made a typo in my own name. And that's how the nickname stuck. And in Dutch, it sounds really good, like cheers.
That's cool. Yeah, my mother's she's like British, like my grandmother still has like the accent and everything. And I went to Ireland and lived myself years ago, and everyone just says cheers all the time, like the British saying and stuff. And so I ended up like picking it up, and it's always good to hear. So whenever cheers, cheers, cheers. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. I was on a Spaces with Roger for a
Uh-huh.
few, and I was explaining this as well. He was like, "Oh, cheers, cheers."
Yeah, that's dope. It kind of I mean, not to dwell too long on your name, but like uh ChirsMannto kind of sounds like a wrestler's name. Like Chris Mountain Manto. One of my good friends, and he's actually a mega moon god, Big Dirty Dan Denton. He is a former wrestler, so I always have a soft spot for anything professional wrestling. Um,
Yeah, I'm like 5'7" and 130 pounds, so I'm gonna be in the ultra featherweight probably.
you can fly off the top ropes, easy.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
During strong winds, I nearly fly away.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, you're from the Netherlands.
Yep,
Am I wrong? And there isn't that where all the windmills are?
yep. We got a lot of windmills, but I reckon Germany has way more.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's places that are known for something, but then like the country next to it is like actually you know much has a lot more. Like
Mm,
um, I have been to Netherlands. I have enjoyed Amsterdam. Been to Germany. Was there this past summer on my way to Malta for Galaverse. Um, so I'm just kind of curious in the NFT space. and being in kind of a different time zone, has that been a bit of a challenge for you? Like, have you become kind of nocturnal?
Don't get me started, man. Nifty Gateway drops at 2 a.m.,
Yeah.
3 a.m. And then, you know, those were the days I got started in NFTs. I actually skipped crypto and went straight into NFTs. And I got started pretty much on Nifty Gateway in February 21.
Hmm.
So that was a good time to get in. Things were looking good. But, you know, Nifty Gateway did still have some issues. First, they had the bots, and then they had issues buying. So I was up like at 2 a.m. trying to buy a drop, and it just wouldn't work. And, you know, the site went down, too much traffic, and sometimes I had to stay awake until like 2:30, 3 a.m. or 3:30. It was insane.
Did you get into Top Shot at all? NBA Top Shot?
No, no,
You
I skipped. Actually, I got into like the equivalent, kind of the equivalent, So Rare. I
yeah.
don't know if you know it. Yeah, it's
Was that
the
that's more soccer?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. That's interesting because like especially given when you first entered, in that February timeframe, like that's when Top Shot, the world was the oyster, like I'm watching basketball, which is my number one sport, and getting into this new money maker, and then of course, there is the art element, but let's be real, back then, like that onboarding was solely like I can buy this and then in 30 minutes, sell it for a profit.
Mm.
So what was the first NFT that you bought?
The first NFT I bought, that was actually a video, an art video on Rarible, created by Seneca. And I think he went, I don't know, he went offline or something like that. But it was it had a Valentine's theme, and it was of a I don't know, a mannequin, a blue mannequin spinning around on some kind of platform, and it had golden hearts and golden roses and all over it, and it just looked really nice. It looked really stunning, and I'm not used to buying stuff that costs like $400.
Yeah.
So my heart was racing at the time when I bought that first NFT. It was 250 at the time, and I just thought I got to get it. I got to grab it, and it's still in my wallet now. I'm not planning on selling it ever.
So who onboarded you? Someone had to kind of tip you off, or were you just scrolling through Twitter or something?
Yeah, DCL blogger.
Really?
That's the first NFT influencer I met through Twitter, and he was like, "Oh, come check out NFTs, and they're new and innovative and stuff." And that's how I got onto So Rare, and from So Rare I got into Nifty Gateway.
And so you're right about that time where Micah has his first drop. Did you mention Genesis?
I was at the time, I was like my first purchase on Nifty Gateway. One of my first purchases was the Mad Dog Jones drop, the one with the cat and Deja Vu, and that was $7.5 grand in total. I was shaking. I was literally shaking. Those were pretty much all my savings. And at the time, I was like all or nothing. Just go in, all or nothing. And I flipped them for 3K profit, I think. And then I was like, oh man, I'm a god. Within a week, 3K profit. I'm a god. I'm a genius. This can't go wrong. This NFTs are amazing. And then I saw the drop schedule with Micah, and I was researching all those artists. And I thought, well, Micah, big ex-baseball player. And I thought, like, well, why not buy the drop? And then I saw the actual video, and it was the Genesis chapter. I had no idea who Aku was. I had no idea where Aku was going to go, but it truly captivated me. It was stunning. I watched it over and over again. I thought like there is something in this NFT, like not in this character. There's something in this character that grabs you, that gets your attention, that says something more, that has a powerful message. And I was hooked. I was totally hooked on Aku from that moment on.
There's so I live in Los Angeles, and there's this probably like 2 mile stretch of road right by my house that's like goes right on the coastline, and it's like the perfect length for like a song, you know. So this sounds like really silly. I don't know why I'm necessarily saying this, but so I'll like to queue up like a song and then like drive like kind of fast on this cool stretch. And I had, when I saw Genesis, like there were at times at night where I would play just on that loop, just a boom, boom, like, because like I felt like it's like a soundtrack to like me that night, you know. Um,
Mm,
I like it certainly resonated with myself. Obviously, Lovox was, you know, my Eskimo into the NFT world. So it sounds like your game was going to be flipping. Did you do
yeah.
that with chapter one, where
No,
you kept on? So
I couldn't sell them. I just could not. I was like, well, if I'm gonna ever sell something, then the only thing I'd buy back would be Aku related stuff.
mhm.
So it did not make sense for me to sell. And of course, the chapters, they skyrocketed back in April, in March.
Mhm.
They went for, I think chapter 3 went for 80K, and I just couldn't sell it. You know, I have one full set for myself and one full set for my parents,
Mhm.
and even they were like, yeah, we just can't get out. It's the story isn't finished yet. You know, the story still has to unfold, and we don't want to be left out, so we want to be a part of it.
So did you buy the set for your parents?
Yeah, one set for my parents and one set for me.
Ah, that's great. And so I've got to assume that there are other projects that have helped you along the way, because obviously you're a genius. You know, it NFTs kind of reminds me of like the first time somebody walks into a casino and, you know, they play blackjack or something, you know, and win like $200, and then they walk out of that casino like, I'm going to do this every day. I'm a professional. Like, this is so easy, and I know I've got a strategy. Like, I don't. Do you know what roulette is, right? Like
Yeah.
the wheel. Like, I I remember like hearing people and even friends of mine being like, "Oh, I play roulette. I've got a strategy." I was like, "There's literally a hole where they don't even bother counting the chips. They just slide it into a hole." But your strategy is fail-safe. So we're into this. You're captivated by a coup, but now you're not going to sell. What projects did you kind of get in that really kind of spiked your NFT journey? The number one is apes, obviously. Did we mint any apes?
No, I did not. I looked at them and I thought the artwork was so ugly that I said, "No, man, I'm gonna pass. I'm definitely gonna pass on this." And I, to this day, I still do not regret that, because I want to purchase something that I like
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost. And if it's gonna get me a bit of money, then that's fine. But that's not my main target right now. You know, I just want to be involved in the NFT space, and I think being here is such a privilege at this time. It can feel like the Wild West at times, but just being here in this space, in this developing new space,
Mm-hmm.
is incredible. You know, meeting all these people, being here on this podcast, it would not have happened like without Aku, without the NFTs.
So what were some of your big wins? What were some of those smart moves that you made early on?
I got into Forgotten Runes,
Mm-hmm.
but my financial uh, finances were limited, so I minted two.
Mhm.
and that was a really good one. I got a Sacred Flame last year on Halloween. Um, Sold that for, I think it was 4 ETH, and ETH was like 4K at the time, and I used that money to get more chapters and get more Akutars eventually.
Oh wow. So you've pretty much like just taken it and then just repopulated it.
Yep. Yep.
What so when you kind of uh when you kind of start like your Aku journey, the piece resonates with you. You know, we interviewed Micah early on. It was right after the Genesis drop, and you know he was telling us about being a moon god. Now we were kind of like sold just because like we saw this guy's passion, but you know there's just some people that when you talk to, like you know, it's like a football player, an athlete that could run through a wall, and it's like this guy's going to run through a wall. What did you think about when the idea of being like a moon god? Like, what was your initial thought of it, and how is that? How was that? How did that become a goal for you?
Um, if I think back, like just hanging out in the Discord. I mean, the Discord launched April 7th or 6th, I
Mhm.
believe. And with each drop, you know, we were progressing. We were unlocking the pilgrims, citizens, trainee channels, and it was just so incredibly fun to hang out with the same group, you know,
Mhm.
and having the ability to talk to Micah in those channels and discuss certain steps of the way for Aku, or getting that early alpha and stuff, and seeing how Aku grows. Those were like the main points of focus for me for completing the set. You know, I wanted to be part. I really wanted to be a part and remain a part of like Aku's journey.
Mhm.
And the best way to do that, I felt, was to become a moon god. So I was in there every drop, minted all of my chapters from the drops itself, from the release. And of course, having been able to check the Moon God channel out and be in there and get to know the other Moon Gods, like we actually know each other on a personal level.
Mhm.
I think you can attest that, and it's crazy how close you can feel to people you've actually never met in real life,
Mhm.
and being able to do that all through Aku, which is what connects us all. I don't know, it's amazing. So Um, I'm really excited to see what Micah comes up with in the future. I mean, we already got the Akutars for
Mhm.
the Moon Gods. I mean, financial gain is probably something that's going to happen through NFTs. Value is being made, but being part of the journey and experiencing that is, for me, the greatest reason to become a Moon God.
So I'm kind of curious because it's interesting in just you know social media or Web3. Like you know, I'm old enough, uh, and I don't know how old you. Well, you weren't that young, I guess, but like I remember like MySpace and when Facebook was first coming, and even being in like my mid 20s, kind of being like, yeah, this is kind of stupid. And of course, now it's mainstream. Now, like our parents and even grandparents are on the Facebook and Snapchats and TikTok. You know, my mom skipped Facebook and Twitter and everything, and she's just all about TikTok now. You know, like it's really it's just kind of weird because like um the older generation has this life before social media. Now my question for you is being a little younger, like you're in this discord with like kind of older people, you know, and we are truly a melting point. We've got some young guys, like it's just all walks of life. um had you had a I guess an online experience, like a connection like this before, and like I mean, maybe it was like a video game group or something like that. Like, was this new to you, like Discord and like the connections you made, or is this something that kind of goes on a little bit more, and us old stones don't know don't know about it because it's new to me.
No, it was new. It was new to me as well. I mean, the level you get to know people in the Discord, it's crazy, and I think it's also one of the key factors that play a role when you're in the Aku Discord, like how welcoming the community is, how open the community is. I still remember the channel Your Aku Story, where people could post the hardships they were going through, or just post what their life was about, what journeys they've made, what experiences they've gone through. And I don't want to brag, but I was the first person to actually post their story
Yeah.
in that channel, and that was a pretty big step for me because there were some personal things in there, but I felt comfortable at that time. I felt very comfortable posting it there because I knew the people in there were gonna look at it and not judge. Those were the people in there that have gone through similar stuff or have had their own hardships. And I also think that's what kind of drew everyone to Aku as well. That's the connecting factor.
So you find Aku, like, it resonates with you just like me. It's the one Discord that I have probably checked every day consistently, since its inception. You're a mod. How did that come
Yes.
about? Like, how did you get knighted into modhood?
In essence, the mods were selected through the community. So when Glitch got selected as a main mod, he started looking at people who were active, people who shared a lot, people who were open, people who were genuine, people who cared about Aku. And in the end, he selected a few people from different time zones, and I was really lucky to be one of them. So I get to hang out with you all in the Discord and try to keep you in check.
Glitch is it's just Glitch, like he
He
is
is.
on top of it. Do you ever sit there and think, like, it's like, man, I'm not performing my mod duties as well as I should, trying to keep up with that guy? It's
Definitely it's crazy. There is, I wouldn't say it's negative pressure, but there is like excitement to be in there each minute of the day, pretty much. Even when you can't, when you're driving, you're like, well, I see that I got a message in the Discord, I got a ping. Oh man, I really got to check. But in the end, having all these reliable guys around you makes it so much easier to leave the Discord also for like 10 minutes, or just say, I'm going to head out for an hour. And everything's going to be fine because the others are in there and they're reliable. We've been through so much stuff together. We actually got selected in December, I believe, November or December last year. And our first trial was, I think, 2 weeks later when the Chapter 7 drop happened.
mm-hmm.
There was so much panic during this Chapter 7 drop and so much stuff that went wrong. But we tackled it as a team and we got through it. The next hardship was, of course, well, there were a few hiccups along the way with the chapters and the drops, but the next big hardship was, of course, the lockup in the contract. That was a big blow. And I was actually, I think it was the drop was delayed, the airdrop and the mint, it was delayed, I think, till Friday. And
Right.
I was actually playing competitive tennis matches on Friday. So I had to step out. Then I basically fainted on the tennis court because I was ill. Yeah,
Oh.
that was not good. So I couldn't finish my matches. I got back home, and then I realized what had happened. I got back and I saw, well, the lockup happened. There was panic all over the place, and we had no idea. We had zero idea what was happening. I mean, the team were figuring it out behind the scenes, and we just had to get on the front lines and try to get some calm into this, I don't know, this hurricane, this tornado that was going on throughout the Discord. So we had so many support tickets open. I think I pulled a 24-hour shift when I got back, but I knew at that time it was right now that I was needed the most. That we were needed as a mod team the most, and that's what we were selected for. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Just like Micah. I mean, Micah is such a big example of getting through these hardships and making it, and not ever doubting what you can do, because you never know. And it was incredible. I still remember the call. We had the Micah come in and talk to the community from London. Team had gathered in London for the mint, for the drop, and I think that was one of the most impressive monologues I've ever heard. It was I think it was 5 a.m. and I was up and I was listening, and I got out of bed then. Got out of bed, turned on my PC, and just hopped into the Discord again. I thought, like, if this man is going through that much pain right now, then we got to do something to alleviate that. And I think that Micah really rallied the community together at that time. That was really a breaking point in what our community could do, also for the team.
Yeah, I was at dinner when he went on Discord at our celebratory dinner, because we thought, like, I made reservations with my buddy Dan, and I onboarded him, and we were going to celebrate all the Akutars, and kind of we were hoping to, like, be looking at them, and then all this stuff just unfolds real time, and we're literally having, like, our steak and shrimp dinner, with my phone, like, on speaker with the Discord, and just like, what the fuck. It's interesting, like, I've been sober for going almost 17 years, and there's a process to getting sober and staying sober. And one of those is, like 12-step programs and sharing your story. And it's fascinating to me sometimes, like just how my mentality is changed because of this program, in that, show me your worst day, and I'll show you, like, something worse, like everybody's worst day is their personal worst day. But just like when you're comparing, like, looking at someone else's life and saying they've got more and more, or looking down on someone and saying I've got more and more, there's always someone ahead or behind. We're in a bit of a situation that makes what Micah went through in the Aku community really not that big of a deal, considering this last week in the FTX. What has been your kind of take on what we're seeing kind of unfold? And there's a lot of questions, what's been your reaction?
I think in the end, this comes down to, like, human greed a lot. We always value transparency in the Web3 space, in crypto in general. But when it comes to a lot of exchanges, we have no idea what they're doing with our funds. Not your keys, not your wallet, not your crypto. You feel like you're staring at a user interface where it says you've got this much money on there, or this much Ethereum on there. But in the end, you have no idea what they're doing with it. So I'd vouch for more transparency based on what the exchanges are doing. I'm gonna be honest. I don't. I've skipped crypto altogether and got into NFTs straight away. So the damage for me is minimal. I mean, it's a big blow for the entire space, and I especially feel for people who have lost, their life savings due to those errors. And it's tough. It really is tough, like losing it all. I heard your story on the podcast last time, and I feel like it is something that's going to happen to every one of us
Mhm.
once in their lives. We are all going to lose something or a big part of our lives at one point. And the key is, like, how are you going to get out of that? How are you going to turn it around? How are you going to keep on getting the energy and keep on fighting for whatever comes next? Because it's never the end, right? There's a song I listen to sometimes, and one lyric in there goes, "Rock bottom is a strong foundation."
Mhm.
You can't get any lower, and it's rock solid. So
I'll counter with this pearl of wisdom that I learned a long time ago. Uh, you hit your bottom when you stop digging, and that like there are rock bottoms that happen um, that are beyond your control. This is one of them for a lot of people, but it's a financial rock bottom. You know, um, it's up to you to decide if it's an emotional rock bottom. How you respond. Now, there, the old cliche, easy come, easy go. You know, there is a large element of gamble in this space, whether it's crypto, NFT. And it's interesting. I always bring it up that I come from a world of playing professional poker, and so my Twitter feed before all this was a lot of poker players, because that's I can't flip on ESPN and see who's winning a tournament here or there. I had to resort to Twitter, and I have a lot of friends and just people that I kind of have met over the years, and that was how I keep up. And it was fascinating how it started shifting, and like all these poker players had gone first, it was fantasy football because we lost online poker here, and then it like fantasy sports in DraftKings becomes a thing, and then those people then are in crypto, and then NFTs and whatnot. So there's we're called Deegans for a reason, like um, it's a tough, it is a roller coaster. I find, and maybe you'll agree with this too, like out of all the projects, like I have to remind myself that Aku is a NFT crypto native like project, but and I don't know if I'm completely bonkers for thinking this or drinking too much Kool-Aid, but like I feel like I'm a part of what I would associate like an early days of like a Facebook or even like a Tesla, like a I think Elon first is like a robot or like some sent from like some other galaxy, but the people that are around Elon to sit there and kind of just be all in on this man's vision, really believe, like I live close enough to SpaceX where I've met a ton of SpaceX and Tesla employees, and Tesla, like it's an electric car company that's cool, but also like they're trying to do something to save the world. Like you have to buy into that culture, and definitely SpaceX. I mean, you know now it seems like it's closer than ever, but when this dude sits there and says like I want to inhabit Mars, like they all wear those t-shirts like Mars, like um you've really got to believe in the guy's vision and know that and feel like you're a part of something bigger than yourself. And I kind of feel that way, like no matter where we kind of go with Aku, Like, I believe that Micah, even if he can only be like 10% of what Walt Disney was, that's remarkable, and I'd like to be a part of that.
Yeah, and I think the biggest proof is basically in the Discord. It's basically in the interactions with the people. We've got so many people in there who are, I don't know, doing stuff where I don't even understand what they're talking about. So many people in there are so intelligent and so well developed. It's incredible, and to have those people in our Discord and have them be moon gods or Aku supporters, or I don't know, see the vision, and it confirms to me that Aku is powerful, even without Web3. Just the message, purely the message, is so powerful that it cannot be untold.
So you have these strong connections and bonds, within the community and virtually. With COVID and everything, it's made travel obviously difficult. Have you been able to connect in real life with fellow moon gods and Aku holders?
Yes, actually, yes. It was, I think it was the 30th of June. So I was invited, I was invited to the Trevor Jones Castle Party in Scotland.
Wow.
And yeah, that was amazing. That was surreal. That really was surreal. I met so many people over there. I actually met Dirk's neighbors, who are moon gods as well. That was really funny. That was really funny. There was a pre-party in Edinburgh, and the thing was, I followed a Dutch woman on Instagram last year when they went to Miami. So they went to the Aku World Miami event, and they got reposted on Instagram by the official Aku account. And I was like, wow, another Dutch person who likes Aku. I got to follow her. I had no idea who she was, but she just accepted my request. And I was like, oh man, that's cool, Aku. And then we went to the pre-party, me and a friend of mine. All of a sudden, she walks in, and I'm like, hold on, I know you. And she was like, oh God, no. Oh, who are you again? And I was like, oh man, I've been following you for ages, like on Instagram. And she goes like, oh wait, are you ChirsMannto in the Discord, because we had a name tag. And I go, yeah, that's me. And she's like, I'm a moon god, and here's my husband. He's a moon god as well, and we're actually Dirk's neighbors.
That's nuts.
That was cool. That was really cool. And I just met them like for 5 minutes, and we were already, I don't know, we felt like we knew each other for a lot longer than we actually had.
No, of course. It's social media is so fascinating because especially when you're I go back to Twitter and poker, you can know so much about somebody without knowing them, I would run into poker players that I hadn't, seen, or friends of friends. And it's oh yeah, congrats on that final table you had in, in Texas, or like a WPT event or something like that. And it's I know about it. And I had to adjust too, because at first I'm like, how do you know this about me? And it's of course, because I put it out there and people actually, do read from time to time, and show interest. It's it's a little creepy, but at the same time, it's where we're kind of going, you'll find it more and more difficult to hide anything, I find it interesting with the people that hide their identity in this space, it seems to me if I really I have no I don't care enough, but somebody could figure it out who you really are and find you. I don't know, it's a little so silly and childish. But at the same time, I understand it's like if you got to make it a little tougher for them. So, were you planning on coming to the States at all for any?
Yep. Yes, I'm coming for Art Basel.
Oh,
Yeah.
you will be coming. Cool.
Yep. I'll be flying over the 29th. So expect to see me in the US, and I expect to see a lot of holders there as well, and meet them.
So on this trip, are you just doing Miami? Or are you going to like do a layover like somewhere else or connect somewhere else?
No, I am just doing Miami. I'm meeting up with Cal, who is the other mod.
Mm-hmm.
He's flying over from England, so that's gonna be extremely great to have nearly all the mods in one place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, we're kind of getting to our little our timer zone where I would like to always kind of switch gears and kind of have a little bit more lighthearted, get to know the inner thoughts of Cheers. So you're in Europe. What I'm just kind of curious, like for your travel experience as a young lad yourself, I find it fascinating because I feel like in Europe it's kind of like a cooler version of the US. Like, we can, we there's people that have never left the United States, but they've been to a bunch of different states, So if you're in Florida, Florida is much different than New York and California. Have you visited pretty much every European country, or what's your
No.
what's your passport book look like? What's your state
Well,
you're proud of?
we don't need a lot of stamps in the EU because we've got visa-free travel.
Oh, that's right.
So we don't get any stamps, so no border controls or anything, which is great because I can just fly over to Spain and I'll be out of the airport within like 15 minutes if I don't have any luggage, you know? So that's really great. I feel like people from the US are like used to driving or flying pretty much distances where actually never gonna fly. I'm not gonna fly across the country and be like, oh well, that's fine. That's what my usual itinerary looks like. If I fly or if I go to Spain, that's probably just like you hopping to a different state.
Right.
So I haven't visited every country in Europe yet, but I have visited most. And it's really interesting to see how different the people are, how different the climates are, and how different the languages are as well. Because like in the US, you can just get different accents. You might have some trouble understanding those, but in the end, you all speak English. Over here, we've got like, what, 30 languages?
Yeah. It's tough.
That's what makes it tough to travel around. So I feel like when we fly to Spain, that's like what, 1,200 kilometers, so 800 miles off the top of my head. That's like going to a different dimension because the people are so different, the languages are so different, the food is so different, the culture is extremely different.
Yeah. Have you been to Prague or Budapest?
No, not yet. It's on my list though. I've been to. Well, I'm part German, so I come in Germany a lot, and I've been to Spain a lot. Me and my family, we always travel to Spain once a year. So
Barcelona, Madrid, or
yeah, just my parents got a place somewhere between Alicante and Valencia.
okay.
So we always go there once a year to have a family gathering and stuff, which is really nice.
Yeah, I found like Spain and Portugal, like I've my family's roots are in England, and then I lived myself in Dublin for a while, and like everybody that I worked with in Dublin, they would always take like a month off and go to like Portugal or Spain, and just I guess sit on their beaches, for a month. So
it's funny. It's funny that you mentioned Portugal because I went there last year in October, and Shinto actually he sent me a few of them stickers, them Aku stickers,
Oh, dope.
So yeah, I went to Porto, and they actually have a Sotheby's office in
Oh,
Porto. So I just I got a sticker and put them on it on a lamppost right in front of the office, and made a picture, send it in the Discord, and everybody was like, because that was the period where Sotheby's were starting to kind of get into NFTs, and everyone that got on Sotheby's just completely blew up. So we were like, oh, when's Aku gonna be on Sotheby's? And I actually tweeted it to the official Sotheby's account, like when Aku on
yeah.
Sotheby's.
So I have to ask, mayonnaise on French fries.
Yes, definitely.
Like seriously?
Yep,
Like just like
yep.
hmm. Do
And if you do it well, you get onions as well.
see now the Canadians, we had crap, who did we have on from Canada? Wiggles, which he was actually living in Australia, but like they have poutine. You familiar with poutine?
Yep.
See, I actually just like eating plain French fries, but I rock with poutine, but I can't the mayonnaise thing is just like I just want it to be like a rumor, but that rumor has been
No,
confirmed. It is real.
no, we're a strange bunch of people. That's for sure.
All right. Well, so I got two last questions. As a man that is young and has traveled a bit, what are two places that are on your bucket list of I gotta see this before I die?
I've always wanted to travel to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
That's been one of my top countries to visit. But then I want to do it like properly and just take a lot of time to really explore, because it's such a big country, but it's also such a diverse country. I mean, you can ski in the north and sit on a beach in the south. Like it's crazy for me as a European to consider that something like that is possible in one country.
Oh, dude, have you ever been to Los Angeles?
No, no.
So, and I've literally done this. You can surf in the morning, and in it's about 3 hours to get to the Big Bear, and you can be skiing by lunchtime. Like,
No, that's crazy. That's crazy for me to imagine. Even crazier than mayonnaise and onions on French fries.
so that all right. So we got Japan. What's the other?
Yeah. Um, I think out of my own experience, like I'm just gonna suggest something where or some place where I was. I think Porto was the nicest place to visit ever in all of my European city trips.
Wow. Okay.
I would definitely go back there like every year. It was amazing. It was really amazing. They've got this steel bridge, and it was built by the same guy who built the Eiffel Tower.
Hmm.
Same architect. So, and it's you just can't imagine something like that, standing on it and just seeing it in real life. So Porto is definitely one of the best places for me to visit in Europe.
Japan's pretty interesting. I went just to Tokyo, and you take the train from the airport, which like is a long train ride actually to where I went. I forget what part of Tokyo. I went into like the heart where like you could see the cherry blossoms, but
Hmm.
it was I felt like I was in a video game walking around Tokyo, like the lights and the sounds, and even the restaurants. Like there were restaurants where it was like a kiosk, like you order everything and then you walk in and just sit at the restaurant, and then your food just appears. Very futuristic and interesting. I would have liked to have seen, more of the temples, and kind of gotten like Osaka, I think.
Hmm.
There's definitely some cool places. Americans are kind of, we have a tendency to not realize like just how massive the rest of the world is, and how big places are, like Europe, like I said, there's an idea that like it's kind of like the States. We kind of tend to have a grasp on that. But I flew from Tokyo to Finland, and the entire 13-hour flight, I was flying over Russia.
Yeah,
Like Russia is super massive.
huge.
Yeah. Um, so we're going to get you on this. You know, we're obviously trying to get as many moon gods as we can. We will be kind of opening that up. Like I would like to kind of get some lower, not lower, but like people that are, becoming a moon god is not a cheap feat.
No.
And then I'm going to also have like a part of the show that I'd like to open up where we're kind of featuring what I'm going to call like moon gods in real life, like some just interesting people that encompass moon god, ideology, but aren't necessarily involved in the project. Now, with that said, who would you like to see on the show? And of course, the caveat is you have to be able to help us get on. But for you, I want it to be a moon god, someone that's in and around Aku.
I've got two people on my list. First one is Darth Vader.
Oh yes.
The reason why is he recently moved to Germany, and I am extremely curious how he's been doing and how he's been experiencing Germany. Second person I'd love to hear a bit more about is Two Chimp. He is one of the Akuteers and a moon god as well. And I think people keep forgetting how much the Akuteers actually help us out, as volunteers in the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to hear his story as well. I've been chatting to him in German a few times, and he's coming to Miami as well. So I'd love to have him on.
That sounds perfect. Well, we're going to wrap it up. Do you have any closing thoughts, comments, rhetorics?
Do you have any tips for me for Miami?
Excellent question.
Yeah. First time visit in the US. My ESTA actually got approved within 15 minutes. I was very surprised.
Yeah, that is surprising. Did you already book your hotel?
Yes.
So, did you book it on South Beach or like?
I think we're in Brickell.
Brickell. And then my last qualifying question: are you a single man?
Yes, but I'm going to be traveling together with Cal.
Okay, so now that I have the full scope, first of all, South Beach at night, like just kind of walking up, tons of great restaurants. There's definitely some bars, and then there's like the nightclubs and stuff. You definitely want to check out. Don't rent a car if that was an option. Like you can Uber everywhere, but just be prepared. Like traffic's going to suck. Like
yeah.
So kind of, I would map out like what part of the city you kind of want to be in. I don't know if you're a basketball fan, but the Miami Heat play there, obviously, and tickets are actually usually really cheap. So if you go, like, you could probably get like $10-15 tickets to watch a game. And I just say that just so like you can kind of have like an American sporting event and get to eat like stadium food, because I love stadium food. Like it's actually like kind of a cheap night out, So
no, that's good advice. I'd love to actually watch a game once.
Then you definitely, Cuban food's huge down there. So
oh yeah,
there's like, I don't want to call it a panini, but it's like a Cuban press or something. Like there's a special type of Cuban sandwich. You'll see it everywhere. You definitely want to like try one of those. And then I can't remember if it's got to be Tuggy. Is Tuggy married? Crap, he's gonna kill me. I can't because I could pick him out of a lineup. Like I know his picture, but I don't know I think it's Tuggy. Like there's some interesting nightlife places where single guys might like to hang out, and Miami is probably, outside of Las Vegas, arguably the number one place to go for that. And there were a lot of Aku natives venturing out. Like I had to. The story goes like I was coming out of a club, and I had to help out my fellow moon god. They wouldn't let him in because he was wearing athletic shorts, and so
Oh,
I gave him my shorts.
that's a great story. I remember hearing this story. I remember hearing this. Yeah, that was funny.
But he was with his wife, and she was like, they were almost going to leave him. I think they had had a couple drinks, but yeah. So that's definitely worth it. Those are my thing. You'll have plenty to do.
It's good. It's good that this is being recorded. I wasn't taking any notes.
Yeah, yeah. I feel terrible. I'm pretty sure it was Tuggy. I asked Tuggy where to go at night, and just make sure you're not wearing athletic shorts.
I will.
Yeah, for sure.
Or either have a moon god around to help you out.
Yeah. There's a there's a place. I'll just go ahead and say it. I'll give it its flowers. Tootsie. You just get in a cab or whatever and just ask, where I want to go see this place called Tootsie. You'll have a good time. So it's pretty cool. Miami is, like the history behind Miami, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it is built up. It is different. It's a different type of place. There's this great documentary. It's something like Finding Odessa or something. It was about like these people that were kind of in that whole cartel era, and Pablo Escobar wanted to buy a Russian sub.
Oh wow.
So they're like living in Miami, and they're like they were basically running the speedboats back in the 80s, like from Colombia and stuff into Miami. And these guys were like, yeah, we can get you a nuclear stuff.
No problem.
Yeah, that's Miami was used to. It's still pretty crazy, but it was definitely the stories out of Miami are cool. And of course, the TV show Miami Vice, classic from the 80s.
Yeah, I'm very excited to go. To be honest, it will be my first visit to the US as well, and then getting to hang out with all these other guys. Man, I am stoked.
Well, you definitely, whenever Mike has got to have something big in LA at some point. So, you'll just have to remember to bring your ski boots and your surfboard for that. And we'll make a day out of it. Well, that's going to wrap up another episode of To the Moon God Pod, all the way from, Amsterdam, not Amsterdam, but Netherlands. We got ChirsMannto coming in strong. One of our favorite mods, doing some great work with Aku, and proud to be a brother of the Moon God family. As always, we appreciate you guys liking, commenting, subscribing. That's how we not only get the message about what we're trying to do here in promoting Aku, but just the overall Aku message. It has been a rather bleak week, and crypto markets, NFTs, everything is kind of taking it on the chin. But for one thing, the Aku family, this is not about the short term. This is a long-term vision, and we're building something beyond just crypto. It's crypto native, but we're building worlds, as we like to say, and we truly are like a huge family. So it helps when family helps out family. So like, comment, subscribe, share, help us spread the word, and we'll keep talking to amazing guys like Cheers. So for the Moon God Pod, I'm JwowLax, And cheers to ChirsMannto.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. That's been another episode of To the Moon God Pod. We'll see you next time.